And what it'll do, Tom, now it says, so now we are recording. It's showing me that we're recording. So it's going to actually save on it's going to open up a Zoom folder on your computer. And after this is over, I'll call you and show you how to send it to me.
Okay.
Okay. So Jody and I were just talking yesterday, because it was yesterday that I just asked her to do this. Jody's actually my prayer partner this month. And we were just talking yesterday about how, you know, when we do business here in real estate, we always run into people that we don't particularly like doing business with. We don't agree with their values. We don't agree with their morals, or they may not have any. That cereal looks good, Dorian. So, but there's a lot of things that, and Tom, you can mute everybody. You can hit all the way over to where the chat room is over in that area.
Yeah.
There's a place where you can mute everybody. Or if
do I need to do that, or
yes, you actually should. Actually, it would be easier if everybody would mute themselves and just leave Jody open. But we were talking about how, you know, we're always mixed up with people we don't like doing business with, but they make us money. They make the deals work. And how do you like walk away and say, you know what, I'm just not going to do business with you? That's hard, because and that's, I think, a great opportunity for us to just trust God that he's going to provide. And that's what we were talking about, is that he's going to provide when we trust him enough to not do business with that person. He's going to find a way to reward us for making the right decisions. And I don't know, it just kind of made me, I think it's so awesome about how things happen, and then what you share with us just wraps it all up. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody else running into that, where they're working with somebody that they would rather not work with, but gosh, they're making you money, and you're doing business, and you hate to walk away? Nobody? Was it just me and Jody? I guess so.
when I say when you made that characteristic, you just defined a tenant.
Yeah. I get that. Somebody else was going to say something. Did I interrupt you? No? All right. So, of course, you guys know you're at Sonrisers. I'm really glad you're here today. And I had one of those weeks where I just couldn't decide what our topic was going to be. And I kept getting calls. I do these Wednesday with Wendy meetings, and I actually had several people that wanted to talk about wholesaling. And even Thursday morning, I had another person wanting to talk about wholesaling. And, you know, there's a lot of good wholesalers out there, but I don't know if you guys know Jody Christensen, but I know her, and I think she's one of the best. Not only is she great at wholesaling, but she's just a good person, and she's so willing to share. When I meet with these people and they want to learn about wholesaling, the first person that comes to my mind is I want to introduce them to Jody, because I know Jody's going to take them. She doesn't think of them as competitors. She wants to give back and help them. And so I thought, wow, she'd be great for our Friday morning meeting, because she would be happy to tell everybody about wholesaling. And, you know, she not only did she accept it with wonderful grace and excitement, but she has already provided to us, to all of you, documents and transcripts that she uses, and it's in the Sonrisers Dropbox right now. So she's gonna share that. I know, isn't that awesome? You're getting claps and stuff, Jody, in case you can't see that. But I think that's just awesome. The thing that we need to understand as investors is you've got to have wholesalers on your team. a lot of people who get into this business get into wholesaling first because they don't have any money. And they think that wholesaling is going to be the way to get them quick money. And that's true, it can be. But to be a wholesaler, you have to have more knowledge than most people. You've got to know how to negotiate. You've got to know how to find the deals. You've got to track down the leads. You've got to know how to negotiate to get a good deal. You have to understand what rehab is all about and get an idea, because some people want to rehab a little bit, some people want to rehab a lot. So when you go and say, hey, it needs 15 and work, well, what does that mean? Do you need 15,000 to rent it, or will it take 15,000 to flip it? Well, those are two completely different prices. We all know that. So as a wholesaler, you've got to know all of that in your head. And Jody does a great job with that. So Jody, I will stop my yakking, and I'm going to put you on the spot. And really what I want to do first is if you'll tell a little story about how you got into wholesaling to begin with, and then just share with us, you know, how, you know, what's a day look like for you? How do you get the leads? You know, what are you doing to find them? And then when you do talk to somebody, how do you negotiate that kind of thing? So how about it, Jody?
I thought you were doing a great job. So I've quit my very good job. I had a great job. I was working at Time Warner Cable. I was in technology sales. And I wanted to start putting the money that I had into some investments other than my 401k. And I thought real estate would be a good thing. I knew nothing about real estate, and I don't watch any of those shows. Nothing. I just read a book that real estate's where you need to put your money. And then I heard about wholesaling. And when I got the big picture that it was somebody that went out and found somebody with the problem, and then they had all these connections with the people that knew how to fix it. You needed the person in between to find the deal and to be able to communicate with what I was already doing, technicians. I would go into my customers, find a problem. It was all about telecom and technology, which I knew nothing about. But I had relationships with the technicians, your engineers. So my job was to open up that door and put the team together that solved the problem. And I never knew anything about technology. So I was like, well, I can do wholesaling because what's in my blood is prospecting. And when folks want to get into wholesaling, a lot of times it's because they see these awesome deals, so they think, that we're finding, and they're like, well, I need deals, so I can wholesale. What most folks don't understand about wholesaling is, like, you got to love the hunt. You got to love, I've not been in a house that had a skunk smell.
Come on over.
But, you know, what I do, you know, I find people that are in transition that need to sell. They want a simple, no hassle way to sell that house quickly. You know, so I buy houses with cash, and this allows me to close quickly and avoid all the traditional delays that are related to selling a house through a listing, open houses, inspections, appraisals, and bank loans. You know, so Wendy, do you want a cash offer on that house?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, we love finding motivated sellers, not motivated to make a buck, not motivated to get the top dollar for their house, but they've got a problem, they're in transition, and they're ready to deal with it. The other type of people, you refer them to a realtor. If they can list that house, they should. So every day, that's what I do, is I focus on trying to create opportunities to talk to people. That's the bottom line. I do have a little slide here. You're gonna let me share my screen, right? That way
you should be able to. If you go down to your screen share, it should give you an option to.
Yep. It'll keep me on track, and then you can kind of let me know if we're on the right track.
Okay. Beautiful.
Okay, hold on. You do this for your talking points, you know. Let's see.
That's why I do it. Right. That's great. Beautiful.
But it's all about the hunt, guys. And it's totally about, don't get bogged down in the details. Don't try to become an expert right now on everything. Massive imperfect action. Man, I can't tell you how many stupid conversations I've had. I don't care. You got to learn somewhere. And if you don't go out there, and you're not going to learn it in a book. You're not going to learn it in a book. You're going to learn it out there getting dirty and embarrassing yourself. But there are also no shortcuts. Everybody wants to know how to find the deal. There are no shortcuts, guys. Don't fall for it. There isn't a magic software program. There isn't a magic coach. There isn't a magic list. It's all about consistency. Get a list, get some prospects, and you're going to pound that list like you've never pounded anything in your life. And it's about creating opportunities. You've got to have the conversations. It does not matter how much you know about rehabbing. Not at all. It matters that you're talking to people and trying to understand, is there a problem here that you can solve? They're not going to share with you that there's a problem until they trust you. You know, if I've got one right now that he has 12 postcards. He had called 6 of them. I called back right away. Only 3 so far had contacted him. So I'm going out to see a vacant house in Gastonia, and there'll probably be about 10 people that walk it. Do you think I'm going to get that deal? Nah. Because but I'll probably still run it, but they're not going to let me build rapport. I'm not going to be able to they're not even going to let me meet the mother. You know, somebody will win that deal, but that's not what we're really after. We're after folks that you can have a conversation with, figure out really what do they need to make this feel like it's the right thing for them.
Okay, hold on a second, Jody. Let's back up just a minute, because you're bringing up some really great stuff. So they've looked at the postcards. They've gotten 10 postcards, called 6, only got 3 that called back. You think 10 people will walk the property. So why is it that you think you won't get it and someone else will?
If it's all about the numbers, I'm not going to get the deal.
If it's all about the numbers to the seller.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If I'm the highest offer out of the 6 to 10 that show up, I lose. I'm a wholesaler. Where the heck?
Right.
Where's my value add to that person? It isn't. I have one right now though that they've not been able to find a buyer, and I've told them, you're not the way you're going after it. And that one is crappy house, not such a good area. I'll be able to help them. You know, we just did. And I could tell you stories, but I just closed on one where I paid $1,000 for. Don't I sound like Larry Goins. We sold it for 14.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you get a house for $1,000? How does the dirt cost $1,000?
Well, I lose a lot of business. I'm not going to overpay.
That's awesome.
But anyway.
Well, what city was that in?
This was in Chester.
Okay. Was the house had a lean-to falling apart, or?
No, it was a complete total rehab, and it was somebody, they're not going to do the rehab. They had common sense. They realized that this wasn't anything they were going to do. By the way, they've been getting my postcard for 3 years.
Wow.
Okay. Consistency, guys. Consistency. You know, whatever it is that you do though for prospecting, do it, but be you. There's so many different ways. People will ask, I'm like, you guys need to figure out which one you're comfortable with and then do it and dominate it. Don't get into one thing and do another. If your thing is direct mail, if it's bandit, whatever it is, I don't do all of those. I don't do driving for dollars. But there are some of you that's going to be your niche, but
Right.
You know that that's what you got to do. That's
yesterday on our, on the video that we did, because, we do one every Thursday afternoon, we had 2 23-year-old twins that live in New York. They were on there, and they're wholesalers in Hudson Valley is where they're from, Hudson Valley, New York. And they said that very same thing, that they tried for 7 months to get into being a wholesaler, and they tried everything. They tried it all, and they couldn't get a house after 7 months and couldn't understand. They said when they took it down to just 3 things that they worked on, that's when they finally started picking stuff up. So what a great point that you just brought up. Don't try to do all things, just be good at that niche. That's great.
Yep, it is. It is. Now I'm into postcards. That's been my niche. Guys, my postcard isn't even that great. And I will say this, when you're trying to figure out your marketing, don't overthink it. Just get started. There's so many cut and paste things out there. Yellow Letters Complete has, and I provided all the details that's in that folder I sent you. But go on there, find an investor postcard, just pick one. This is the one I just did back when this COVID crap hit. I won't use the word COVID. Now everybody's using COVID in their postcards. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna, yeah, it's out there, but you know, but that's my latest postcard. I also do a follow-up. You don't get to see me though too, or do you see me too?
Yeah, we see you too.
Okay. This is my handwritten. I sit here and it just says, thank you for letting me call you back. If I've talked to somebody and I'll quickly write a handwritten note and drop it out the mail. Now these aren't going out every day. And I use my dog on it because she's in the car all the time. And but just start with something. And yes, people always ask, how much mail? You guys, on average, I did all the math. It's right about 38. Well, let's see. What did I come up with? About 3,800 a week go out.
38.75. Yeah. Wow. That's a lot.
So it's set up every Monday. I get a hit that my PayPal account needs to be paid, and out goes that list. Every Friday, the mail goes out. And then after every 6 weeks, that same list will hit again. And then after a year, we'll take it out and refresh it with a new one.
Okay, so let me ask you some questions that I know are coming up in people's minds. How much do you spend to send out 3,875 postcards?
And I will give a number, and I'll get 6 different people argue with me that I'm paying too much. It's just like when I'm trying to get a deal going for a house.
Right.
You guys are going to pay anywhere from probably 37 to 43, 44 cents a postcard.
Okay.
Okay. Yellow Letters Complete is not the cheapest. I don't want to hear about it. I know that. But they do some services for me that I've taken off my plate, and we've got a relationship. I pay for that. So I don't do, you can spend a tremendous amount of money on very expensive mail. I feel like I'm somewhere in between, and I get deals. So could I improve this? Could I get it cheaper? Probably. But this is what I'm working with.
So $1,200 to $1,500 a week.
Yeah, more. Yeah.
Every 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks.
No, it's every week.
It's every week. Holy cow.
It actually, when I hit PayPal, it's usually about $1,800 a week.
Okay.
Every week. Every Monday, I'm spending $1,800 to hope and pray that I get a call that doesn't cuss me out, but tells me they're in trouble. And by the way, don't get into wholesaling if you're not prepared to get death threats, hate mail, complaints. I've learned new cuss words. These postcards, that postcard absolutely sends rage through people. It's just a postcard. Yes, we take them off the list if I can understand their address.
Okay, so in the chat box, John Morey said check out reipro.com. And he said also PropStream is somebody you might want to check out as well. And there are a bunch out there. He's got that in the chat. So if you will save your chat, you go all the way to the left side of your screen down to the bottom. There's 3 dots. Save that chat for you, so you'll have that. Okay, so go back one more because I got one more question I wanted to ask you. Oh yeah, so now I remember what it is. So how do you get a list? And where are you getting it, and how do you pay for that?
Well, now I was fortunate when I started. I started wholesaling on the side. I was 4:30, 5:30. I was wholesaling. It was my side gig. So I had money. I had seed money. It's funny, I don't now, but no.
Well, that's encouraging.
I'm going to be blunt about that in a minute. No, I do not make the money that I used to make, but I would never change anything. I absolutely love this job, absolutely love it, and I'm building more than, you know, that you can count right now. It's
A
great.
lot to be said for freedom, isn't it?
It's the yeah. There's a freedom, but there's just so much more when you're living out your purpose, guys. That's the bottom line, right? And
Right.
God brings the rain, and the harvest comes in. But anyway, you asked me about the list. I do include in that, and yeah, props. There's a ton of really great programs out there that you can buy lists from, and you can just do one. Don't think it's the magic bullet, you know, but if you're going to get a list, you're going to spend money on it. It doesn't matter where you get that list. It matters that you're consistent with mailing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that may be mailing it and skip tracing it. And I've put all that in that folder. You can get off in the weeds, but you can skip trace. You can do that through whitepages.com. You can send it off and have people do it. You'll pay anywhere from, depending on the volume, 15 cents to 25 cents an address. They'll get you phone numbers that are hit or miss, and you can start that. But Mojo calling and all that good stuff, that's major volume and major time consuming. You're going to probably farm that out. And I've done it. If you want to talk to me about the details about bulk calling and all that, I've done it. I did it for a solid year. It's not me. But yes, I got some great deals, and I just got a check on a deal that I talked to in 2018 from a Mojo.
Wow.
Okay. And my biggest spreads came from Mojo, but you will call literally thousands before you get a deal.
Wow. And VAs can do those calls for you too, virtual assistants, right?
They stink.
Well, it depends. It depends.
I found it out and I never could get I did it and I was getting deals, but I can't sit on the phone all day.
Yeah, but that's because you know how to negotiate, and that you know how to find somebody's pain point.
You
and
do.
Understand what it is that needs to be solved, right?
Yes, it's listening, and which is the script is your secret sauce. I put the script in the page that I use. It doesn't have to be my script, but you need a script. Do not wing it. Don't think that you can just get on that phone and say, do you want to sell your house? That's what your VAs are doing.
Right.
You know,
right.
You do not want to wing this. And folks, and I've tried to train folks, they'll get the script and they'll say, I'm ready to make calls. I'm like, well, tell me the script. They don't, I'm like, not kidding. Pound it into your head, because what the script, any coach that gives you a script, the reason they're giving you a script is because you're learning to start breaking down some of the key points, building some rapport, and identifying, is this somebody that knows they have a problem that you can solve? If they don't know they have a problem, you need to move on. You're not there to try to convince them to sell their house, and you're not there to try to convince them that you're going to give them the highest, best offer in the world. Because if that's the case, you need to become a real estate agent. They're professionals at that. I mean, and they're great. You need to have some great real estate agents that you can refer these people to. Don't try to talk them into taking a cash deal if they don't need it. You're wasting your time.
Right.
But the script is really what helps you understand the problem. It's not about the comps on the phone. It's not about the comps. It's not about all the details on the phone. You ask them the condition of the home, but you move quickly on. They're like, well, there is a transition. You say, well, tell me, this sounds like a really nice house. Why are you selling? I really fell apart one time when they told me about the bullet holes in the side of the house. And I was brand new and I was about to say, well, this sounds like a really nice house. And I'm like, wait a minute, that won't fit. But get a script and learn it so that you can learn to identify why do they need to sell. And of course, there's always the big ones that we all know about. But you guys got to remember, do they recognize it as a problem? Because if they don't, you don't have a problem. They're not going to, you're going to nurture that along. Eventually that lead may come back around, but don't think you got a deal, Does that make sense?
It does. And you have provided a script in the folder of that you sent over to, so it's available to everyone.
Now, a lot of times when I get calls, folks are not really wanting to be a full-time wholesaler, but they want deal flow and they're frustrated with wholesalers. Believe me, I am one, and I am frustrated with myself. You guys think there's a shortage of deals. Well, let me tell you, the 4 that we did last month, guys, I did 131 offers.
Wow.
And I'm damn, because this year's been kind of off. So I always want to say, well, how many offers did you make? Well, what? And I'm like, no, look, seriously, you're depending on the wholesalers to go out and make 100 some plus offers to pull out what we're trying. This was and we don't mean to throw you crap, but you got to understand, you don't have a clue what we had to go through to get that.
Mm-hmm.
So, make offers yourself, guys. That's the one thing I tell folks. You've got to make the offers, and when I am talking with folks that want to be wholesalers, I got to keep them in the perspective that you are a pawn shop. You are a pawn shop. I literally was doing a deal where a pawn shop was across the street, and this house was just awful, and she wanted so much money, and I said, you really need to take the deed over there and see what they'll give you for it. And I walked away from the deal. I did close that deal 6-7 months later, made 10 grand. She called me. She finally was fed up. But I mean, I was being silly with her, but I was trying to get her to understand, you're going to give me this property, and what am I going to do with it? And so when you take a gold necklace into a pawn shop, when people walk in there, they're not walking in trying to get retail. They need to get some cash out of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is what a wholesaler's mindset is every day, or you will be making offers too high. Whenever someone calls me and says, we're going with you, I go, oh no, my offer was too high. And you guys truly, truly, truly always be pulling away, and always suggest that you talk to an agent, because that's when you're going to find out what the real problem is. Guys, we work with people that these are sensitive issues. Sometimes they're embarrassed. They don't want the whole world seeing what happened, right? Mm. And you need to be really sensitive. And that's one of the things one of the reasons why I get business. One of the reasons why they'll stop taking all the calls, or not stop. I just did one. Debbie, I think, is on the call. She got a sweet deal this month. I think I'm the only one they talked to. I think they talked to somebody a couple months before, and they made them a really good offer. And I said, you need to take that offer. That was a really good offer. But I knew they probably weren't back around. They went with me at a much lower price. Their daughter had trashed their house. It was an inherited house that mom had got, it was her parents. And so then her daughter was living in it and trashed it. And they were very embarrassed. And it was a house that it was dark. I couldn't see it. So I walked in. I knew I ain't going any further. I already know. I walked back out, and I was like, you guys have to understand, you're not alone. Like, this is really not as bad as you think it is. I've been in works, and I'm being sincere, and then I'll kind of exaggerate that I've got one of those rooms too that I just throw stuff in. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. That's when they said, Jody, can you help us? That's okay. So, when they say that, I know we'll find a number that works. Like, what's fair, right? But I don't go in trying to get a deal. I mean, I'm always pulling away. You need to get used to people being mad. It would have been a sweet deal, but I offered 180. And by the way, she listed it just right now for 270.
Wow.
But it's a lake house, but she was mad at me. But she ain't gonna get 280 for it. But you just have to be willing to upset some people. And this is terrible. And if my clients are not dogs, but guys, you never catch a stray dog by chasing after it. You've got to be able to provide a reason for them to want to come and get help. Mm. And it's not by being pushy. It's not by being the highest offer, but you got to make offers. You got to make a lot of them. And I try to tell folks that are out looking for deals, whether or not they want to be a full-time wholesaler or not, how many people did you talk to today? I sent somebody a way to get a list, and they said, well, you just talk to them? You just call them? And I'm like, you got to do something.
Right.
So, how's this so far?
It's awesome. Good stuff. Thank you. Now,
people, I got somebody you just referred to me. They're blowing me up about how to make their offer. And I'm like, man, don't worry about it. Just talk to people, get an appointment. I do oversimplify offers. I really do. My first deal, guys, I made over 200 phone calls in Craigslist for sale by owner, practicing the script. I set an appointment and did not have a contract, did not know how to make offers. I had joined Wholesaling Inc.'s course and I hadn't been in it 2-3 weeks. But I hit it hard and just made phone call after phone call after phone call. And lo and behold, it was in Starmount.
Wow.
Yeah, made $9 grand on that deal. But really, guys, and I know every realtor professional investor just absolutely freaked out when they saw I put Zillow up there. I am sorry to offend you, but my world revolves around people that don't sell their house every day. And they look at Zillow. So guys, this is their expectation. So bear with me. Please don't give me the preaching about you're not doing it right. I know that. You don't have to be on my cash buyers list.
Yeah, but you have to know where they're coming from, and they're looking at the Zillow. They don't know it doesn't work, right?
Right.
They don't know it's not right.
Yeah, that's right. It's right. But again, also for people that don't have access, that haven't paid for all the great tools that are out there, or MLS, guys, I'm telling you, I did more deals when this is great. I want to say thank you, Wendy, making me sit down and go through this. I've complicated I lose a lot of business because I want to be really, aggressive on it. But I really have some killer deals when I didn't know anything. I didn't overthink it. But, then this is all in that share, but when people want to make offers, and every rehabber, all you guys are going to argue with me. I know it. Go find your own deal. This is the best way I know to do it when I'm talking to folks. Just when you're over the phone and every call needs to end some way, and I do put it in that thing, every call, you're going to give offers out, even if you don't meet with them. You're going to send an offer out, even if you don't meet with them. There's 5 ways to end a call, and I've put it on that thing. But, if it's $100,000 in Zillow, you got the profit on it, you got to make 25% at the end of the day. And you need to be upfront with it. You're in this for business. You're telling them, I'm not moving into it. I'm an investor. Don't even try to say that house only needs 10 grand. Always put at least 20. If anything, that's carrying costs plus paint and carpet, right? Just this is ballpark. This is when you haven't seen it and they're telling you it's in great condition and you think it's a listing lead. And it may very well be, which you're going to refer them eventually, right? You're going to want at least a $10,000 assignment fee. Yes, you'll take less, but just start the standard there. I've done deals for $2,000 and I've done deals where I've made $60,000. It comes and goes. And so that's where your cash offer would be. And can you see why that's so embarrassing low? You're embarrassing yourself. But guess what? If that's a listing lead, obviously they're now going to go on to the next stage and talk to an agent. And I want them to get the best offer. But if that house is what you and I think it is, a $100,000 house that they haven't done anything on in 30 years, and it's going to need bathrooms and kitchens, etc., that's really where we should be starting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, and then there is a sheet out there that once you've gone out and saw the property, you've got a better perspective. Is it light estimates, the light, medium, and heavy? You can do that. And I provide that in. Again, don't get caught up in analyzing a property. Be more focused on the conversation. This works itself out. Guys, they'll actually tell you once you've got the rapport. You know how many times I've been told, well, Jody, this is where we've gotten. And I'm like, well, let me see what I can do. And there's ways where I'll call somebody and say, can you get this done for this price? Great. Do you think there's about $5 grand in it for me? Yep. Hey, let's do this deal. Okay. Don't fret over the cash offers when you're starting out. Rehabbers, you guys that have been doing this, go for it. But I'm talking to the folks that want to get started in real estate. They're wanting to figure out wholesaling. You are never going to get a deal by focusing on the numbers. So in contracts, everybody wants to know about contracts. I would say that a good place to start is Harry Marsh's website. Has got all the documents that you would need. Build a relationship, maybe more than one, with an attorney. Talk to somebody. Don't get hung up on the contracts right now. But yes, you need a purchase agreement for the seller. That's assignable. And then you need an assignment agreement that your cash buyer is going to sign for the deal. If you've not done a deal yet, don't worry about this yet. Just go find the seller, the motivated seller. This will happen. Guys, when I did my first deal, I didn't even have a contract.
He has these contracts on his website?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. And I know he closes in North and South Carolina too.
He does. Yep.
So I don't have, $1,800 a week to buy leads. And I'm wanting to get started into wholesaling. So I'm thinking what is a better option to go with if I'm brand new? I would driving for dollars, right?
Yeah, I mean, and again, be you. If that's your thing, I spoke to somebody and they're working full time. Like, man, you better know every house along your route. Driving for dollars, getting it started. If you can do handwritten letters. If you want to partner up with somebody that's already got direct mail going, I just got somebody's got their list. They're all categorized. Anytime anything happens on that address, it's tagged for that lead. So there's ways to partner up. But driving for dollars, I personally don't get out in the car and just drive around for dollars. If you're going to do that, be prepared to get out of the car and talk to somebody.
Right.
It's about conversations. It isn't about looking at doors.
So driving for dollars in my brain, and I know people that do this. Bill Cook is a great mentor to learn from. Bill Cook. If you get online and Google him, the word Bill Cook and real estate, you'll find his information. But driving for dollars for me is go into a neighborhood you like, parking on the side of the street, and usually on Saturday mornings between 10 and 1, that's when people are home. They're outside washing their cars. They're, just getting back from the grocery store. That's when people are home. Saturdays you don't want to go too early, so between 10 and 1, and you just start knocking on doors. Yep. I love this neighborhood. I am absolutely interested in buying some houses. Do you know anybody here that's interested in selling houses on this street? You don't ask them direct. Do you agree?
Yes.
And they will spew way more information than you would ever want to know on everybody up and down the street. And, some people are going to say, get out of my yard and put the hose on you. But for the most part, people are pretty friendly. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Oh, I do that over the phone. I got a referral. We did it. And I was like, well, do you know anybody? Do you know anybody in your neighborhood? It's cold call on Mojo. And 3-4 days later, I get a call and he says, my name is Dan. My friend said that you were looking to buy houses in this neighborhood. And we did the deal. So I think just whatever you do, just do it, but know that you can't overanalyze by just looking at addresses too. You've got to take some kind of action to start a conversation. You can't be afraid to knock on a door, talk to somebody out doing their gardening. Bandit signs work. Just be prepared to keep doing it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up bandit signs. I will say this, that bandit signs have worked from caveman times. I mean, it seems that I've got bandit signs. I don't use them. If I'd use them, I bet they'd work a whole lot better. But bandit signs, if they're cheesy, you see them laying in the street, you get calls from the city saying take them out of the yard. There's all kinds of issues that go with them, but bandit signs work.
They do.
It really
do a lot of them. You got to do a lot of them.
Yeah, and you got to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they work, and you can get them pretty cheap. I mean, there's even a banditsigns.com that you can go to, but I don't think they're the cheapest. I found them cheaper elsewhere. But you need to be concerned about who you order those from too, because sometimes your lettering will get Yeah, and it can look like handwritten, but sometimes your lettering will fall off sooner on the cheaper signs. And I know Larry Goins went through a time where he would handwrite everything, and he said, "Who's got the worst handwriting in the office?" Well, it was Paul Olson. His handwriting, he should have been a doctor because his handwriting's just terrible. But he would handwrite signs you could barely understand what those signs were saying, but they worked for him, and Larry would put those signs out with Paul's handwriting, all these signs with the phone number, and I'm telling you, they worked like crazy.
Yeah, it's consistency again, and find your niche. There's so many great coaches and programs, and that, yes, you may make that investment, but do yourself a favor, do it.
Right. Do something. That's right. Sitting still won't help, will it?
It doesn't. And don't look for the shortcut. There are no shortcuts. You got to put the work in. Guys, it's a numbers game. It really is. I know, we count everything. I count how many offers that go out, how many meetings that I run, how many network meetings, how many deals, and how many postcards. So every week those numbers are accounted for, and I can tell you, I can see when my business this year was a little off, but we did just finally have, a nice big, I think 5 deals in July. We were due, trust me. But you have to be consistent. It's going to come. It's going to come.
That is so well said. And that's it is consistency that makes a big difference. I think that's in anything we do. I'm going to go up here, and you can stop sharing your screen now, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how.
Okay, so if you go up to the top where the middle is, the very top middle of your screen,
yeah,
it will say stop sharing up there. I think it's in green.
Oh, okay, maybe that's the problem. Okay, hold on. No, it's not. I wanted to get rid of it. What if I just close
Exit full? I just exited full screen. That didn't help me. There you go. You did great.
Okay.
Great job. Great job. Okay. So, and that's, you need to be consistent in everything. Bill and I have been doing these video recordings now, and we do them 2 hours every week on Thursday. We started them back in November, and everyone is better than the last one, we hope. But because we get more comfortable doing it, we're just trying to get our network that we have out there. We want to get them in front of people. So we've been doing that, and our goal is to not only get information out to people, but we want them to know who we are, and that not only do we make loans, but we also have an option for investors to invest money. And we really were to the point just about a month ago, we were thinking, this isn't working. We're not really getting anything from it. Maybe we should stop, because it's costing us about $3,500 a month to do this with our production and everything. And really about a month ago, it's like a snowball just started. And it's amazing what we're getting out of that. And it's because we've remained consistent in what we're doing. I've seen it work for other people. I knew it had to work for us at some point. And we've started doing this thing called Ask an Ugly Question session that we do at 12 o'clock every Thursday. And I'm just shocked at the response that we're getting off of that, because they're the questions that nobody really likes to answer. You want to pump your chest when you're talking about your company and talk about how great it is and all the benefits you have. But in this session, we're talking about all those questions that people ask us. We go, oh gosh, do we really want to share all that? Yeah, we're blowing it out there. And it's an education. So the consistency is so important. And how long have you been wholesaling? How long have you been doing this?
2015, I started part-time. I had my full-time job, and then I went full-time a year later. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think back and I had to be nuts, but you have to understand, I was very fortunate that I had a job that I traveled a lot. I was doing deals. I think I spoke last year. You were out of town. You were desperate again, and it was me. I did a deal from New Jersey. I was in my hotel room, and the guy, so I was hustling, man, and I would be standing in line at getting ready to board a plane, returning a call. I was hustling. I was burning it at both ends. I don't work that pace anymore. Time Warner was just running me ragged. And plus doing wholesaling, and people say wholesaling is a lot of work, and I'm like, this is a piece of cake compared to what I used to do. But for most folks, though, if you're not used to prospecting, I mean, I've got a database. I make calls every day. I pound my database. That's what's gotten me through this year. The mail was going out, and people were not calling. When people it shut down. It was dead. But I'm calling. People call me back once in a while. And I'm just priming that funnel. You got to pound your database. Now, granted, it's taken me a while to get to that database, right? But you have Craigslist. There is a constant flow of deals that you could be in there talking to for sale by owners and rent by owners. Talk to those landlords. Are you looking, you need to be, and that's a whole nother thing that's in that folder. You need your cash buyers. You have a different conversation with cash buyers. But you can be prospecting into the database to find find a landlord that's ready to dump a property. And
Right.
don't tell them you're going to buy it if you're not. Don't be that Joe. Hey, this is what you do. I'm a wholesaler. Do you need help? I got people. That's what we do.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Jody's making this sound like it's really simple, and we all know that it isn't. You have to have.
I thought I was really trying to tell y'all don't want to do this.
Yeah. Don Harris has got a thumbs up on here. It's not easy to do this. And I don't know if you can see the chat, Jody, but there's a bazillion people that are thanking you profusely for what you're sharing.
It's all in that folder. Feel free to comment. Guys, I pester people like Wendy all the time. I overthink things. I'm a hot mess. But if you tell me about wholesaling, I know my gig. Now, don't be hitting me up about all the comps and all that crap. But let's talk about what your real problem is. It's not comps and offers. It's you haven't made enough offers.
Right.
That's the bottom line. It's how many people did you talk to today? Well, I don't have anybody to talk to. Then you need to go find somebody to talk to. But you can do all the analysis you want. But what good is it going to do you? So, but call me anytime. There's more stuff in there that you probably, and I don't want to hear about all the misspelled words. Those are my personal notes.
Right. So how can people get on your buyers list? How can people get on your buyers list?
My website has a partners tab. Just go in there and leave your phone number, guys. I'm gonna call you. I want to understand what your business model is. I won't remember you, but I'm gonna try. And the folks that have gotten deals this year were the people that I had built the relationship with. I still blast stuff, but if I know your niche and I'm in a tight spot, I did one. It's up in Kannapolis. I only called one person. No, I called three, and they're the ones. And they got that deal. They didn't even have to. We can talk later about how you work with your cash buyers, but just the call, just don't overthink it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Right. Okay. So there's Dustin George is saying if anybody has a wholesale property out in Gaston or Columbus counties, Tommy and I are looking for our next deal. I'm assuming that's Tommy McGill. We all know he's
call him and tease him that, hey, I'm going to a vacant property and guess what?
Tommy's got it down. So he's got his phone number over there in the chat too. I mean, that's something you just need to understand. We have a Sonrisers Facebook page, and the link to the Sonrisers Facebook page is on the reminder email that comes out to you every week. I'd give it to you now, but I don't know how to do that yet. So it's not a part of Zoom. But do a search for Sonrisers and get on our Sonrisers Facebook page and post stuff what you're looking for. Post what you have. I can tell you that I'll bet you that Jody has probably 4 or 5 buyers that she knows when she finds a deal, she can go right to them. She doesn't even publish what she has. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
And a lot of wholesalers are that way, but you need to be asking who the wholesalers are. Find out who they are and make sure you get on their list and see. Choose Better Path, or what's Jeff Johnson's company name? Noel at New Pack. Oh, shoot, I should be better at this. Anyway, Sue, do you know what it is?
New Better Path.
Better Path Homes. I know that's the name of the company.
Hey, you know, if you want to find wholesalers,
Yeah.
And Jeff's group they're the professionals. I mean, that's the model of what you want to partner with. That's the top. Craigslist, all the wholesalers post crap on there, and then you've got Facebook Marketplace. Make the calls, talk to them. You're going to find out right away they're a wholesaler and say, hey, I'm an investor. I'm looking for. I get people that call me because they get my postcards. You know, but you also need to be proactive in building your wholesalers list, you know, and yes, you're going to get a lot of crap.
Right.
You know, don't, I hate it when people bust on wholesalers and I'm like, you go do it.
Yeah. It's not easy. Sue, did you find the email for him or his website?
Yeah, it's, hold on a minute.
Better Path Homes.
But it is Better Path Homes. And, you know, what's Mitzi's last name? I don't know what's wrong with my brain today.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Mitzi's last name is
Mathis. Yeah, Dr. Mitzi Mathis. There you go. There, Mitzi's on here. Mitzi, type in your email address so everybody can get a hold of you. So it's over here in the chat box if you're looking. So yeah, she's a great person to buy stuff from. There's other wholesalers. Anybody else who's a wholesaler on here, I highly recommend you put your email address in this chat box right now, because there's people here that are looking for you. They want to get a hold of you and be able to use your to be able to use your skills, because we don't want to do what you have to do. It's too much work. And Jody, you're JMS Properties?
home buyers.
JMS Home Buyers.
Yeah. My PowerPoint, I'll put it in there. It has my contact info. Sorry.
Okay. And you see Resolute Investments LLC at gmail.com. That's a wholesaler, Zanika. There's good wholesalers out there. So take advantage of it. You know, you can't have enough arms out there searching for houses for you. And know too, we're going to talk a little bit more about notes as we move farther along. We'll get Randy to share some more stuff with us on that. But I really believe that note buying is going to become another way to find houses, a better way to find deals, because I believe that the foreclosures, after people have experienced 2008 the way that they did, banks are going to be more apt to selling non-performing notes rather than foreclosing on properties, because it's more expensive to foreclose than it is to sell a non-performing note. So I think you're going to see a lot more of those come online, and we're gonna be addressing the note buying situation here shortly. So
I get to be the speaker at Nothing But Notes next month, and I'm breaking down a deal that I found. I wholesaled it and I created the real estate note, sold it with financing, and I break down all the pieces that go into doing that.
That is awesome. And that's Randy's group, right?
Yeah, that's next. It's Randy's, the 11th, is it? It's a Zoom call, I think.
Awesome. And I know Randy's on here, and I'm going to ask Randy to type some information over in the chat box too. to talk about a little bit about your group. And then Adama is doing a group as well. So she can type some information in there. Next week, I am going to be at the Good Success Boot Camp with Tom Olson in Gary, Indiana, next Friday. And we're actually going to do this call live from that boot camp next week. So I can't even tell you how awesome it's going to be. It'll be a great opportunity to see other people from around the country. That'll be able to share some information, and you'll get to just like sit in a boot camp and see what people are doing. So they're going to talk about it while we're there. So don't miss next week. And y'all, Jody, first of all, thank you so much. This has been awesome. You're so gracious with everything you're giving. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great, wonderful, wonderful week. And lift Emma up in prayer. She's going to get her wisdom teeth pulled out. So that's where we're going next. Thank you, everyone. Have a great, great week. Love you, mean it.